The galaxy still remembered the night the stars dimmed over Lyara Prime. The alien queen, Sapphira, had collapsed on the royal balcony, her scream echoing through the palace halls. Her daughter, newly born, fragile, yet destined to inherit the crystal throne, had vanished. Despite fleets scouring every system, no trace was ever found. Some whispered she'd been assassinated, others believed smugglers had taken her as a bargaining chip, while the queen herself withdrew into icy silence, carrying her grief like a shroud. For 25 years, the throne remained secure, but empty of joy. The galaxy moved forward, but the wound never closed. Meanwhile, far from the glittering spires of Lyara Prime, on a small mining colony orbiting the dead world of Corvus 7, a human named Elias Thorne lived a simple life. He was a salvager, picking through forgotten wrecks for parts to sell. One evening, while exploring the skeletal remains of a derelict freighter, he found something unexpected: a girl. She was frail, hidden inside a stasis pod, her pale skin patterned with faint silver markings that shimmered under the faint emergency lights. When she opened her eyes like molten violet, he knew instantly she was no ordinary refugee. She whispered only one word before fainting: home. Middle, the bond and the revelation. Elias brought her back to his small quarters. She was weak, malnourished, but fiercely intelligent. She had no memory of her past, only fragments, voices calling her name, shadows of a palace, and a lullaby sung by someone she believed to be her mother. She called herself Lyara. Elias felt protective of her. He shared his food, taught her how to navigate the rough life of the colony, and shielded her from the miners who sneered at aliens they considered unworthy. Over time, she began to trust him. A strange bond formed, human and alien, survivor and protector. But fate had other plans. One night, raiders attacked Corvus 7. They came for resources, but when they saw Lyara's unusual markings, their leader froze. "Do you know who she is?" he muttered. Before Elias could act, the raiders fled, terrified. The next day, emissaries of the Valoran Empire arrived. They had tracked a faint genetic signature, one thought erased from the stars. When they saw Lyara, they dropped to their knees. "The lost heir has returned," they whispered. Elias was stunned. Lyara herself was overwhelmed. She was no orphan, no forgotten castaway. She was the missing daughter of Queen Sapphira, the child the galaxy thought dead. Yet she looked at Elias with fear. "If they take me," she whispered, "I'll be nothing but a pawn on a throne. You're the only one who's ever seen me as just me." Elias promised he wouldn't leave her side. The return, a daughter and a human. The journey to Lyara Prime was surreal. For Elias, it was like stepping into a legend. Towers of crystal stretched toward the heavens, entire cities floated in the skies, and fleets of silver ships patrolled the stars. For Lyara, it was overwhelming, a flood of half-forgotten memories crashing back. When they entered the grand hall, the queen herself stood waiting. Sapphira had aged, her once raven hair streaked with silver, but her bearing remained regal. When her eyes fell on Lyara, the mask broke. She stumbled forward, her hands trembling, and pulled her daughter into an embrace. "My child," she whispered, tears running down her face. "My heart has waited 25 years. The court gasped. Some wept. Others exchanged uneasy glances. For though the queen rejoiced, politics stirred like dark waters. A lost heir returned after decades? With a human by her side? Not everyone would welcome this. Indeed, opposition rose swiftly. Ministers whispered that Lyara had been tainted by years away from the throne. Rival claimants feared their power threatened. And above all, there was disdain for Elias, the human outsider, standing where no human had ever stood. One counselor spat the words openly. A human? At her side? This cannot be permitted. But Lyara stood tall, her hand gripping Elias's. He is the one who found me, the one who cared when no one else did. If you question him, you question me. The queen, though torn, backed her daughter. Yet shadows moved. Plots began to stir. The trial of fire. To secure her claim, Lyara had to undergo the trial of fire, an ancient test of courage and truth. Few survived it. Enemies whispered that the trial would take care of the problem. On the morning of the trial, Lyara was pale but resolute. Elias tried to argue. You don't need to prove yourself to them. You've already shown who you are. But Lyara smiled faintly. If I don't, they'll never accept me. And if they don't accept me, they'll never accept you at my side. The trial was held in the Chamber of Flames, a vast arena filled with illusions drawn from the deepest fears of the heart. Lyara entered alone, yet as the flames rose, she saw visions not just of herself, but of Elias. Visions of losing him, of a galaxy where he turned his back on her. She almost broke. But then she remembered the blanket he had given her on her first night, the way he had stood against minors twice his size just to defend her, the way he never saw her as an heir or a pawn, only as Lyara. With that memory, she strode through the flames. The chamber fell silent. She emerged unburned, her violet eyes blazing with defiance.
The court bowed. The queen wept.
Elias felt pride swell in his chest. Ending, a throne shared. Lyara was crowned before the galaxy. The daughter long lost had returned, and the Valoran people rejoiced. Yet when asked who would stand beside her as protector, advisor, and chosen companion, she turned, not to nobles or generals, but to Elias. My life was not saved by fleets or armies, she declared, her voice carrying through the crystal halls. It was saved by a single human who shared his food, his courage, and his heart. If you would honor me as your heir, you must honor him as well. There was silence. Then slowly, applause began. The queen herself stood, raising Elias's hand. From that day, the story of the human who returned the queen's daughter spread across the stars. Some grumbled, some plotted still, but the people embraced the tale. For it was not just the return of an heir they celebrated. It was the reminder that compassion, even from the most unexpected place, could change the destiny of empires. And so the queen's daughter, once thought lost forever, sat upon the throne with a human at her side. Not as a prisoner of tradition, but as a ruler with a heart shaped by survival, love, and the bond of two unlikely souls. The galaxy remembered the night she was lost. Now, it would never forget the day she returned, with a human.